Most people picture paradise as palm trees, volcanoes, and winding trails through emerald mountains. A break from the noise, a place to breathe. And for two young women from the Netherlands, Panama seemed like just that, an untouched haven, a perfect stop on their post-graduation adventure. But sometimes, paradise is deadly. Because deep in the tropical highlands of Boquete, where mist clings to mountaintops and trails vanish into thick jungle, something went terribly wrong. Two best friends stepped into the forest, and they never walked back out. What followed was a mystery so bizarre, so unsettling. It's been called one of the most haunting travel disappearances of the 21st century. Phones were found. Photos were recovered. Bones appeared miles from where anyone expected. But no one, not law enforcement, not rescue teams, not even the families has ever gotten a clear answer. This isn't just a case of getting lost in the woods. It's something darker, something deeper. This is the chilling true story of Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon and the deadly trail in Panama that may never give up its secrets. At first, it looked like a dream come true. Two best friends from the Netherlands, smart, adventurous, and full of life, arrive in the tropical highlands of Panama, brimming with excitement for the trip of a lifetime. But just days after they arrived, they vanished. No goodbye, no trace. And when clues did finally surface, they raised more questions instead of answering frantic calls to emergency services. A backpack found neatly placed in the jungle, and photos taken in the dead of night that hint at something unthinkable. This is the haunting true story of Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, two tourists who entered the jungle and never came out. In late March 2014, 21-year-old Chris and 22-year-old Lisanne left their homes in the Netherlands, touched down in Panama land of volcanoes, rainforests, and remote mountain villages. They'd just graduated from university and dreamed of traveling before starting careers. They chose Boquete, a tranquil highland town famous for its coffee farms and cloud forest landscapes. They planned to spend a few weeks learning Spanish, volunteering, and soaking in the scenery. Both signed up for a Spanish school and stayed with a local host family, who described them as polite, curious, and full of joy. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. But on April 1st, everything changed. It was a clear, sunny Tuesday when Chris and Lisanne decided to hike the El Pianista Trail, a popular day walk just outside Boquete that winds through the cloud forest to a scenic viewpoint. They left their home around 11 a.m., backpacks packed with water, snacks, cameras, and phones. Even a local dog named Blue joined them on the trail, as if sensing their adventure. Their passports and other valuable items remained behind, proof they expected to return by evening. By nightfall, they hadn't returned. Blue wandered home alone. Their host family assumed perhaps they'd stayed late, got lost, or sought shelter in the rain. But when they missed their Spanish lesson the next morning, a gnawing fear began to take hold. By April 2nd, the Dutch embassy had been notified. Panic rippled through Boquete and the families gathered support. Helicopters, search dogs, local guides, and volunteers combed steep ravines, swift rivers, and jungle depths for 10 long days, without a single clue. The area was treacherous. Heavy rain could swell rivers, and sudden visibility loss could disorient hikers. It was as if the girls had disappeared into thin air. Until June 14, 2.5 months later, when a local indigenous woman found their backpack lying on the banks of the Culebra River, nearly 10 miles from their starting point. It was set down neatly, dry, clean, undisturbed. Inside, investigators found both passports, $83 in cash, 2 pairs of sunglasses, Lisanne's camera, a full water bottle, and both phones. Nothing was stolen, nothing damaged. The backpack looked like it was deliberately placed. Switching on the phones revealed chilling data. 77 emergency calls had been made, but none connected. Most were made on the first day, including one at 4:39 p.m., just hours after their hike began. Only 1 second of signal had been caught before the phones went silent. Lisanne's phone fell quiet after April 5th. Chris continued to turn on and off, as though someone was periodically checking for a signal or conserving battery. But on April 11th, even that ceased. Her phone was later found with over 40 incorrect unlock attempts suggesting a frantic, final struggle. Then, there were the horrifying photos. Lisanne's camera held hundreds of images. The first 100 showing happy smiles, lush forests, and bright daylight. Then a several-day gap. Then, in the early hours of April 8th, nearly 90 photos were taken between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. Most were black, capturing only deep jungle. But a few photos stood out. Sticks and plastic bags neatly arranged on a rock. A smear of what looked like blood and hair on a rock or tree. A chilling shot of the back of Chris's head, with blood at her temple. What message did these photos send? A plea for help? A desperate marker of location? Or evidence of something far more sinister? Over 2 months after the backpack was found, indigenous searchers located a single boot with a human foot inside. It belonged to Lisanne. Nearby, they found part of Chris's pelvic bone, followed by over 30 bone fragments scattered over hundreds of feet. Forensic analysis revealed Chris's bones were unnaturally white, almost bleached. Lisanne's bones still showed traces of skin, indicating natural decomposition. How could death leave 2 bodies behind but erase signs of violence or trauma? Radiation? Chemical exposure? Or something else entirely? No major fractures. No wounds. No signs of animal scavenging. They left behind haunting digital clues, but no coherent narrative. Back in the Netherlands, families were wrecked, unable to fully mourn, without knowing the truth. Chris's mother wrote in anguish, "We've lost our daughter's smile. We need to know what happened." Friends recounted how Lisanne's laughter once filled rooms. Her sudden absence felt like a storm had ripped through hearts. Memorials were held in both Panama and the Netherlands. More than 1,000 people attended a candlelit vigil in Boquete. Their parents joined the search in Panama, tirelessly coordinating teams, speaking to officials, and tirelessly demanding transparency. But grief soon gave way to suspicion. They accused Panamanian authorities of a slow investigation and evidence mishandling. In Boquete and Alto Romero, whispers arrived of more ominous possibilities. Traffickers using trails deep in the forest, predators hiding in the undergrowth, secret mafia routes used to ship illicit substances through the jungle. Still, no proof, just stories whispered over forest canopy and firelight. Lost and separated. One may have fallen or drowned, leaving the other desperate and alone. Foul play, the careful photography and stage backpack invite chilling questions. Trafficking. Panama's remote trails are known corridors for illicit activity, natural phenomena, heat, exhaustion, water ingestion, and disorientation. Any could be fatal without rescue. Government interference. Some argue investigators were pressured to downplay suspicion. To this day, no suspects, no arrests, just a desperate absence. This story remained in headlines worldwide for months before fading into internet archives. But it remains one of the most disturbing tourist disappearances of the 21st century. A stark reminder that paradise can conceal peril. Hiking inexperienced, ill-equipped, or alone, even on safe trails, can turn deadly if something goes wrong. For families, grief without closure is a wound that never truly heals. The lack of answers amplifies pain. For travelers, a reminder to travel with caution, carry satellite phones, GPS trackers, and hike with local guides. Never underestimate wilderness, no matter how inviting it seems. Chris and Lisanne's story continues to haunt Boquete. Their laughter once filled misty paths. Their final desperate phone calls echo through the jungle. 2 young women, brave enough to explore the world, and now remembered in silence, bones, and unanswered questions. In a place so full of life and beauty, they found the opposite, an all-consuming void that swallowed 2 souls and kept their secrets. Thank you for staying with us through this story of Chris and Lisanne. Join us next time on Deadly Destinations as we travel to Australia's Gold Coast, exploring another hidden tragedy and an unsuspecting beach vacation turned heartbreaking. Subscribe for more true, tragic tales of travel gone wrong. And remember, wander with care.